Balan and Professor Lakshmi Lingam on the stage now. I was telling Vidya, in fact, I have to gather myself because it's such a fan moment for me. I'm a great fan of all your work and thank you. Super happy to have someone like you really doing what you do. So my first question is, you see in the study that only 23% of women, are there in films, and very few of them actually play lead roles. Whereas very early, you have broken that zinc and you have become a lead actor, and you carry several films on your shoulder. So what is been your arch? At what point did you crack that?
Yeah, firstly, may I just say a big hi to everyone. I'm very happy to be here. And to see so many people on a rainy day. I was also expecting very few people when, because it's been raining since morning, but it's wonderful to be here. And one of my professors, Shilpa Farke, is here, who heads the Media Studies Department at TIS. You all are really doing some wonderful work, so thank you for that. The change for me happened because I was very restless doing the kind of work I was doing. It was early years of my career, and I was playing roles of the romantic interest in a lot of my early films. But it wasn't satisfying me. I wanted more substance. And therefore, after, why don't you just, you're getting good work, continue to do it. I said, good work is very subjective. I feel like I'm not contributing anything. And I think I was feeling like I was sleepwalking through some of those roles in films because I felt it was this anyone can do. I was mistaken, I have to say, that there is great talent in doing what your quintessential Bollywood heroine does with conviction, but I couldn't do it. And at that point, I was offered a film called Ishqiya. The role of a woman who had agency. The role of a woman who owned her sexuality, who was very, she was, your femme fatale and all of that, but there was a simmering strength in her, when I was offered that role, I thought, oh my God, this is what I've been waiting. I felt like, oh my God, this is my purpose. I'm actually living another human being's life. It was not, I knew this person. It's not like sometimes I came out of films and I didn't know who I had played. It was that not well defined. But here I felt like she was a living, breathing woman who had this deep desire for revenge and did not stop at anything to get that. And I said, okay, now let's see how this film does, and then, if work comes my way, great, I'll do it. Otherwise, even if this is this is my so-called last film, so be it. But because I enjoyed the process. But I think I was at the right place at the right time, and things were turning, because things were turning around us. Suddenly, this process hasn't happened overnight. It's been happening, it's still happening. And in cinema, I really believe is a reflection of what happens around us. So that change was actually, now there were people who were writing stories where women were finding their voice, where women were coming of age, where women were, doing as they pleased with their bodies. And I think it was just where there were so many women scientists involved. I think it's fantastic because there you got to see both sides. They're not women who are only scientists, like, I don't mean to, I want to say this correctly, I hope I am, but you know, they are homemakers also, but they are scientists. They're planning and executing the biggest mission from ISRO at that point of time. So I think it's fantastic that we're telling these stories, because on our lives, we're not divorced from our personal lives, from what happens at home. You know, like in Mission Mangal, that scientist is making rotis that day at home because her maid hasn't shown up, and she's having to make sure that the electricity bill is paid and her father-in-law's medicines are laid out for him, and then she goes to execute this big mission. You know, whereas with most men, the reality is that they don't have to do that, and that's unfortunate, but we'll get to that in another, hopefully, 50 years.
In fact, says, but what are you doing? You know, what's your responsibility in all this? And I think that pushback is vital in films. In every occasion, if the scripts can give the pushback, that gives the signal about how these are not okay and women can question it. And I think,
sorry to have interrupted, but that was written by Balki, R. Balki. So I think that's also very important to note, that it was a man who wrote that scene. You know, so we also need more men. We just can't, we should be only driving the change.
true.
Sorry, I interrupted
No,
you.
no problem. So my last question is, you know, the data behind the screen is definitely not very encouraging.
Yeah, I have to tell you that when I read it, I was shocked, because the reality to me seemed different. But obviously, you all have done in-depth research. Yes, please.
Yeah, so what would you think needs to be done by the film fraternity to bring, creche facilities, having safe workplaces, women being dropped if it is late, things like that we are looking at, need to be done?
I don't think we have creche facilities yet, but definitely posh committees on every production that I've been involved in, and so I can tell you that a lot of production houses are following that. And the third thing you brought up was
how do we bring about broader changes?
Yeah, I think it's just about. I don't think the answer is simple, and I don't think I'm in a position to furnish solutions like that, but it has to be holistic. It has to be, and I don't see why it's a bad thing if women are hiring more women. Eventually that will percolate into the men-led films also. I am seeing that change there. For example, on Mission Mangal, we had far many more women than I've seen on any commercial film, behind the scenes. And I am seeing more DOPs, editors, and so I was a bit surprised when you said, actually, and writers, I was a bit surprised when it said that there are not as many scriptwriters or editors, women scriptwriters or editors, but I think the change is happening. What we all have to do is look at a person for their ability to what they bring to the table, and not judge them by their gender, whatever it is. I know it's easier said than done. We're working against it's a lifetime of conditioning, but and I think within the industry, I know of lots of people who are making small efforts, but I think every drop makes the ocean, right? So everything will contribute to bringing about change.
So thank you very much, and we look forward to having more conversations with you, and also see that you spearhead a lot of changes so that several young
For the release of the report, we'd now like to also invite Professor Shalini Bharat, Mr. Mike Hankey, Ms. Guri Monga Kapoor, Nandita Das, Mr. Nitin Tej Ahuja, Mr. B.N. Tiwari, President, Federation of Western Indian Cine Employees. Ms. Sucharita Tyagi.
All of you right, please. Get you right. One more, please. Salah, please.